Now let's move to Ward 1 on the Hattiesburg City Council. Our first response will come from Republican Kim Bradley.
I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Kim Bradley. I am serving my second term on the council here at the City of Hattiesburg. I touch on a few things that Mr. Ware commented on. I believe this council has worked very, very well over the last 4 years, and the 4 years previous to that, dealing with the issues that we have, automated meter readers, how we pick up our garbage. Those are things that have helped our city to do better. There's other things that we've done too. But the one thing I believe that this council did, and the reason why I want to serve one more term, would have to be our infrastructure, our water and sewer. Obviously, we have issues with our water and sewer, but this council recognized that 4 years ago when it began its conduit program, where it's itemized the projects that needed to be. The projects totaled some $25 million 3 years ago. We took on the first phase of that, which we're completing now. We're moving to the second phase. That list has grown, and it is growing. Part of that is our lagoon issue. These are decisions that we're going to have to make as a city, and they're large because the dollars that are involved are large. I want to serve one more time. I want to serve one more term. I want to work just like we've worked these last 3 years to make the proper decisions that we need to make our city be the best it can be. And when we make those decisions, we'll deal with that odor issue. We will have long-term programs in place to deal with infrastructure. So that's why I'm here. That's why I want to serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Running as a Democrat in Ward 1 for the City Council, J.C. Harrington. Mr. Harrington.
I'd like to thank our host, and I'd like to thank the Saenger Theater for hosting. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Swan, for monitoring me. Like you said, my name is J.C. Harrington. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on myself. We can get the specific policy. I'll be available after the forum. They will less than 2 minutes. I was born and raised in the Pine Belt. I went to high school at Summerall High School. Upon completion of high school, I moved out of state for a short period of time for work. I got a phone call while I was working out of state that my dad had passed away, and I made the decision to move home to be with my mother, who was paraplegic. Let me touch on my mother just a second. She got in a car accident in 1991 and left her paralyzed, as I just said, and she raised 3 boys and 1 girl from a wheelchair, and that says a lot about my mother. She's a strong woman, and I think it made us stronger as our kids.
Excellent, sir.
I'm very proud of her. Upon moving home, I met my wonderful wife, Brittany, and we had a beautiful 2-year-old little girl named Georgia. And, I attended the University of Southern Mississippi, where I studied political science. And I was bragging to go back to my wife. My wife has a year left before she's done with her PhD at Southern Miss, so that's something to be proud of. So I'm proud of my family, obviously. One thing I would touch on, I know our time, and one thing I'd like to touch on is transparency in city government. I've noticed the website, if you try to pull up anything, it's hard, it's very confusing to find anything. Anything we look for. What I would do is I would try to implement a program, provide some software where you can search keywords to pull up any kind of information you're looking for. And I do believe every city council meeting should be videoed and should be available to the public.
Your time is up, Mr. Harrington.
Thank you.
Have you made a decision about the waste treatment system, whatever it is? What were the determining factors for you?
Having been involved with this process for the past 4 years, I can honestly say with due diligence, this council has tried and has worked very hard to get the information that it needs to be in a position to make a decision. I think everything that Mr. Ware said is spot on. I think this whole thing happened, or was allowed to happen, in pursuit of 80 jobs for this business that was located here. You cannot take someone's untreated wastewater and think that you can deal with it no good. It was a mistake that was made. But that's a hand that we've been playing for the last 4 years. After Katrina and the failure of the aerators, through the loss of power, it just pushed the process quicker on us, and now we're having to deal with it. And we are dealing with it. When the decision is made, it will be made with every single bit of knowledge that we can, or input that we can get from people with the knowledge for us to make that sound business decision that Dave spoke of. No, there's no decision. I think that was the question. Has your mind already been made up? No. We're getting ourselves in a position to make that decision. That decision's coming quick. It will be here on us very quick. And we will do, with due diligence, the best that we can do with that information.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Mr. Harrington?
You know, you guys have been trying for 4 years. I think it's time for someone else to try. You know, we stress it out. So, you know, I think we're going to bring as independent engineers. I agree with Mr. Carmen and Mr. Jordan. You know, we've been spelling it for years while we talk about it now. This should have been fixed a long time ago. We have to, you know, there's been similar situations like this. Is not the first time this has happened in the United States. You know, this should have been fixed at the first time we smell it. You know, so all we have to do is look at case studies, look at where this has happened before. You know, bring in some engineers with solutions. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to fix it. If these guys knew how to fix it, it would already be fixed. You know, so we got to bring in people with the expertise to fix this. Let them present their proposals to the council. Show us where that has worked, and then we can move on from there. Thank you.
What is your plan to engage citizens in sincere dialogue as opposed to a twice-a-month public forum with no elected official accountability? Mr. Harrington?
I heard two great things. One from this speaker. Like I said before, the website has got to be, that's a lot. And then the other from Ms. Delgado. Every council meeting should be televised and recorded. You know, everything sounds great. This should happen, that should happen, yada, yada, yada. How do we do that? I'll tell you how do we do it. We partner with the University of Southern Mississippi in Ward 1. Have a great political science department and a great journalism department. You partner with these guys. I'm more than sure you get with the department chairs. The council can take a vote on each of these guys. And these kids could record the council meetings, broadcast them online. They can update your website. We're not utilizing the University of Southern Mississippi like we should. You never hear about the University of Southern Mississippi in any reference as it pertains to the council. That's a sad thing. So we need to engage the people we have, use them to the best of our abilities. I guarantee you, if any council member approaches the University of Southern Mississippi, any of those department chairs, they'll say, yes, we can do that. Thank you.
Mr. Bradley?
First, I'm going to beg to differ. I think I do a lot at Southern Council, so I'll take offense with that. This council does recognize the University of Southern Mississippi for Go-Go Fridays, fill it to the top. All throughout the year, there is something from USM that this council is voting on, so I take offense with that. But back to, I'm in a unique situation with the council that I currently serve with. I stand at a counter from 7:30 in the morning to 5 o'clock, 5 days a week, and from 7:30 to noon Saturday. And I have a phone number that's listed as my business. If I'm not there, nobody's going to take that message. I may not return your call that day, but that call's going to be returned. So communication, I understand, where we're going here, but if someone wants to make a point to me, I'm probably the most accessible of all of us, because communicating with me, I don't believe is an issue. If it is, it's the person to me. I do the Citizens Forum serves its purpose. I do have a problem with that sometimes, because it's used to attack the members on the council. When you've got 14 to 15 involved in that, they show up and they target you and they wear you out over just things that just shouldn't be. But I am for communication. I am for the better website. We do have a wonderful program in place. The infrastructure's there. I just don't think that we use it.
I've got several cards up here, and this one seems to really stand out. Several people wanted to know, what do you plan to do to address Hattiesburg's public safety concerns? Mr. Bradley?
I'm concerned about public safety and the perception of public safety within the city of Hattiesburg. Our home was a victim back in December. Daughter's car parked in front of our house, popped the window, neighbors next door. That happens throughout all of Hattiesburg. It is happening. How do you address it? I think, I like our police chief. I think Chief Bolton does a good job. I think we have some great people in our staff. I don't know how you change your tactic, your strategy, what you do. I do believe this. I do not believe that we communicate to the public like we should from our public when we have issues. I think Mr. Ware worked very hard. He had a meeting at Parkway Heights Church back in the fall to try to bring awareness to what was going on in the city. And the police chief was there, and members of the police department were there. They began putting this on this website that doesn't work very well. Well, I found that it didn't work very well either because you had to have a password to go look at the police report from the day before, and it turned out being from weeks before. I think there's a lot of things that we need to do and do better. I believe Dave is correct that when you're going to stick 140 sworn officers in an old stinky hospital, in an environment that's not safe, how can they go to work proud, be where they are and get the whole position they do? If you want something from them, you have to treat them better, and I just don't think that we do. I think we need that we instill evidence.
Mr. Harrington?
Let me start off by addressing Mr. O'Hara. One good thing I can say about Sean O'Hara is he'll get knocked down 7 times and he's getting up 8. So that's great about Mr. O'Hara. But buying the Hattiesburg American and moving the police there, so you're going to move them to a smaller facility, that just doesn't make sense, you know. But I don't believe that we should build a brand new facility. I don't think that's you know, with all the money that it would take to do that, we could spend about half the money update the facilities we have and be just fine. I have a personal story due to public safety. Back in 2011, my niece's father was murdered right at the gas station across from the police station. Now, the facility had nothing to do with it taking the police department 7 minutes to respond right from the front door. You know, I think they went up and shot fire and started ducking. Another thing that I would not be for, period, is raising fines. I think that's nonsense to put the money on the backs of hard-working people, you know, who's trying to get back and forth to work or just make an honest mistake. The fines are high enough, so I don't think it's a good idea to raise fines. That's all.
I'm going to give our candidates an opportunity for a 2-minute closing, and I will be real strict on the 2 minutes. I will give you, I'll say 15 when you have 15 seconds left. So we give each candidate a 2-minute closing statement. Brandon?
I really do. I've really been thankful for the 8 years that I've had, that I've served on this council. I've grown up and lived all 50 years of my life here in Hattiesburg, and I love our town. I love our city. There are so many positive things that are going on. We've answered a few questions tonight, but we really have not. There's a lot of issues, a lot of things that we're going to face. At the same time, there's a lot of positive that's going on. You talk about Midtown development. You talk about what's going on right down the street down here, how we're revitalizing downtown. You know, just an interesting fact from the census from 2010. Did you know that our city only grew about 500 people? When we sit next door to a county that, percentage-wise, is 1 or 2 in the country as far as growth for that time period. Why is that? There's a lot of issues that we're facing, like I said, and the biggest one I think that has been talked about, obviously, was the lagoon and the wastewater program, our infrastructure improvements. I'm asking the residents of Ward 1 to let me finish the job that we started. I feel like if I walked off today that I'd be leaving my post. I don't want to do that. A lot of hours have gone into getting this council, 5 of us in a position to make the decision about our lagoon, our wastewater treatment, and as we continue phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4 of the conflict program. I want Hattiesburg to be in a position to grow, to prosper, and to be a vital community that it is to the country. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Mr. Harrington, you have 2 minutes, sir.
I was just sitting here listening to everyone speak here. Something that stuck out was Mr. Garmer saying that there should be performance-based pay in Hattiesburg. If that's the case, the council should not be paid due to this smell that's been here for 8 years. So actually, they should start paying the city something. Anyway, you know, it's Mr. Bradley talks about wanting to finish the job. You've had your turn, Mr. Bradley. On June the 5th, I will help you move your office. You know, there's so many things that the city has to do and has to decide. You know, one thing that my campaign was looking at specifically is we tried to obtain a copy of the budget. On the budget, there's $17 million worth of other. You go to Mr. Myers, council clerk, great guy by the way, to get clarification on what that other is. Well, it took me 2 weeks to get the backup documents for the budget. Now, the backup documents is not the official budget. The official budget has $17 million worth of other. That's roughly 30% of the budget. You know, that's just a little too much. That's a little too shady. And that goes back to transparency, getting this information on the website. Hattiesburg should be an open forum for anybody. And I would like to ask you for your support on June 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give our candidates a big round of applause. We also want to thank the League, the Hattiesburg Council of Neighborhoods for sponsoring this candidate forum. Very good information passed out tonight, and I'm sure the candidates will be up here to shake hands and to talk to you if you have other questions. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming, and be sure to vote. Good night.
I want to give our moderator a hand.